Hi and welcome to Upholstery Training Online. In this video I'm going to show you how to reupholster a dining room seat. I'm going to show you how to strip off the dining room seat, cut the fabric, pad it, how to lay on the new fabric including the base cloth. I'm going to cover everything you're going to need to know in this video, how to cover your own dining room chair like this one. Enjoy the video. And if you like this video, remember to press the like button, subscribe and the little bell icon so you can see more videos like this when they come up. Thanks very much. Okay, so today we're going to do a dining chair pad. What I'm going to do with this, because it's had some sitting on over the years, I'm actually going to add some needle felt to the top of it. So once I've taken the top cover off, I'm going to take the top of the foam off and then I'm going to add some needle felt and I'm going to show you how to tease the needle felt into place. First of all, I'm just going to turn it upside down and I'm going to use my stripping chisel here, which is just a sharp pointed chisel, and that sits underneath the tack, and then with a couple of hits of the mallet that lifts the staple up. So I'm not really looking to take the staple out completely here, but to lift it up. Sometimes they come out in one, and then I just use my pinchers just to go over and pull the loose staples out. Let's get started. What I tend to do is just put some weight in the middle of the board with my elbow. What that does is just when I take the staples out, it stops the board running around the table. So just put a little bit of weight on it with my elbow and I give it a hit. 2 clunks should be enough. And what I'm doing is the first hit goes underneath the staple, the second hit lifts it. And now I'm just going to work my way around here now. I've taken the base cloth off to take the top cover off. There we go, we just pull back the fabric, tuck it down there, staples out, lovely and clean. Now I'm just going to peel back the foam, which is in good condition. If it was flaking and disintegrating, then I'd replace the foam, but in this case, it's in really good condition, as you can see. So, still got some body in it. It actually rolls really nicely around the edges of the dining chair pad as well. So now I'm going to put the needle felt in the middle, and needle felt is just a really hard wearing mixture of wools and cottons, and as you can see it doesn't fall to bits. So I'm just going to put a square of that in the middle, use my hand just to tear it into a square shape, and now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take off the edges. Move them out of the way for you. I'm going to take off the edges because at the moment it's still quite sharp, but if I put this straight back on and I feel through there, I can feel there's a distinct square in the middle. So again, put my hand on the top, I just tease away that edge here just to slope down the needle felt, and that just gives it a nice edge to it. Princess and a pea affair going on. So we're just going to move him. Just tease it all around. There we go. Maybe just stick it down at the moment. So as you can see, that's just a nice slope going down. So lots of little bits left over. And then what I'm going to do is hold the foam in place this time round. So I'm just going to use some heavy duty spray adhesives that we use for foam, and I'm not going to use a lot, it's just to hold it in place. So just a quick squirt around the edges and a quick squirt around the edge of the foam as well. Foam it, oh, stuck to me. And we're going to pop him on the edge there and just hold it in place. Take the foam, pull it around the edges again, as it was before. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to measure the seat with the fabric that's going to go on, and what I'm going to use is a tailor tape, and what I want to do is find the widest point on the seat itself and make sure that I've got enough to go around, plus keeping in mind the width of the fabric. So in this case, I want to take it around, give myself a good couple of inches, sort of 7-10 centimetres on the other side, and same with this side. We use inches a lot, even though from the UK, in the upholstery trade. Measuring around the widest part here, I can see that we're 25 inches, 63, 64 centimetres. So leaving plenty on either side, so I've got something to hold on to make sure that I've got a good pull around either side. I don't want to have it exactly so that I've got barely anything to pull round. That's just going to make life awkward and unnecessary, as we'll see in a moment when we go to cut the fabric out. So 25 side to side, and then back to front, 23 back to front. Again, giving myself a good amount to pull round. 23 back to front and 25 side to side. Back to front in centimetres, 23 is 59 centimetres, 60 centimetres. I hope that helps. So we're going to go onto the cutting bench now, and I can show you how we're going to measure out and cut the fabric for our seat. So now what we're going to do is cut out the fabric for our seat. We measured it to be 23 back to front, 25 side to side. Our overall width of this fabric, inches this is, do apologise if you're in the UK. If you're in the States, happy days. But here we have a 56-inch wide fabric, or 143 centimetres. So with our 25 centimetres side to side, that will be perfect. But we're only going to cut it 25 wide, because although we're going to have a bit spare up the side of the fabric, that's really okay, because we don't want it too big. We don't want too much fabric flapping around on our seat. So first of all, we're going to measure up and down, and little trick I use is basically what I do is I put my finger on the 23. So I find the 23 on my meter stick, I put my finger on there so that I can just bump it up against the fabric, up against the edge of my bench or the edge of your table, mark 23 there, straight up this end, and mark 23 at the top as well. And now what we're going to do is go 25 across. So I just put my stick right up against the edge and mark 25. Right up against the edge again and mark 25. Boom, 25. And then 25 from this mark. 25 from this mark. And then what I do is right on this very end, I'll just put 23 to the top. And that draws that line there. 23 again. That line there again. And I use my long straight edge just to draw straight across the top. And that gives us two nice squares. We have a piece up the side here that we're not going to use, but I like to keep it so that we've got just the right amount of fabric on each side. So that when we're cutting this out, what we want to use is the whole length of our blade. We don't want to use the end, If you've got upholstery scissors, then use them. Whatever scissors you've got, right to the very end. And I want to aim my scissors, the end of my scissors, onto the line. So when I cut down, I stick to my line. There we go. So now what we have is 2 squares that we can use to cover our fabric. Now sometimes what happens is you have a pile or a pattern on the fabric. What you want to do is mark the top of the fabric so that you know when you put it on your job it all runs the same way, and you can match up your patterns. Certainly keep the pile of your fabric all facing the same way. So a couple of marks on the top. When they get put down, when I pick them up again, I'll always know what the top is. So there we go, that's our 2 pieces of vinyl, and they are ready to be put on the chair. Okay, so we've cut out the fabric for our dining room seat, and now what we're going to do is cover it. So what we're going to need for this is some Lux Bonds to give it a nice soft feel on the top, and we're going to need some Dipryl to go underneath for the bottom cloth. We're going to need my staple gun, and we're going to need some 7110 staples to go on there as well, and of course my scissors. So first of all, what we're going to do is, using spray glue, some heavy duty spray glue, just put 1 spray in the middle, and that's just going to hold on our Lux Bond. So we're going to lay our Lux Bond over the top, and then we're just going to tack it on. We don't need to weld it on and put lots of staples in. This is just literally to hold it into place. So there's 1 in either side, over on this side, 1 on this side. So 1 staple on each side. Everything I do, I'm always just brushing it up just to make sure that I haven't got any slack and it's under the right tension. So we're just pulling it down, very much like the base cloth, the top cover we're going to put on in a moment. And then what we're going to do is just trim it off. So what we want to do is just pull it down on the corner, cut straight down. I'm going to do it on each corner to show you what I mean. So hold it, cut straight down. It's going to take out any fullness in the corners like this, and then we're just going to trim it down. We don't want lots of Lux Bond floating around. This gets called different names, and I'll pop it in the description as well. There we go, so that's easy enough. We've got that covered now, and Lux Bond, we make sure it's got no bits and bobs on top of it, so, which will show through. So now we've got the felt, the new felt underneath here to give it a bit of a dome, and we've got the foam to go back over the top, Lux Bond, and now it's ready for the cover. So just keeping in mind which is the front and the back. So I'll put it down in front of me, front, the back, and the sides are here. And I'm going to take my faux leather, grey faux leather, and put it over the top. I just want to feel at the back with my hands to make sure I've got enough fabric to go all the way around and underneath. And this is kind of what you'd want to do if you've got a pattern or a stripe on it. You just lay it out to make sure it's all in place. Now we're going to do the same as the Lux Bond. We're basically going to tack it out so it stays in place. I don't want to pull too hard on here because I've got nothing to pull against on this side. And then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to brush it up with my hands. And again, I can feel the tension that I'm pulling on now. And I want to look down this edge as well, because I don't want to pull it so hard that I can't see that I can see the wood coming through. And then I just want to turn it around, do the same to this side. I am just holding it using the full length of my thumb and my palm of my hand. So I'm just pulling it down on here, stroking up the back, gently pull it over. Again, I'm not pulling against anything here. And I want to turn it around. Now I'm pulling against this staple, so I can give it a full and final pull to where the tension I want. So I'm just stroking it up the back, giving it a good pull. I'm happy with that, and I've come over with my thumb to hold it in place. Now I've got my hand free to use my staple gun, and I put my staple in there. Now I want to just work from side to side and opposing sides. Staple there. And what I want to do is, using all my fingers and the palm of my hand and my thumb, is I pull on this fabric, and now I want to pull up and I want to pull along, but at the moment, because I've got nothing attached to it at the bottom here, I just want to pull mostly towards me. So I'm actually using this staple here, and I'm using my fingers just to pull and get that tension clean across the top there. So I'm pulling over and this way, but not too much over at this point because I've got nothing to pull against. So a lot of pull this way, or a reasonable amount of pull this way, and then I hold it again with my finger and I pop a staple in there. Now I want to do the same to the other side. I'm doing it this way round so you can see it, but really I would do it with my other hand, and I'll pull a little bit up here and then a lot this way, using my thumb and my fingers just to pull it. Now this is the basis of most upholstery, and we pop one in there, and then I want to fill in now. So I pull down using my, again, my full thumb and my palm of my hand, looking down the edge, make sure I haven't got any big wrinkles or dips. I hold it on, and now I can work on this side. I can give it far more of a pull over there, over the top, brushing up the back, pulling down the line of the fabric. There we go. I'll do the same to this side. So brush it up. So I've got a nice piece of tension. Using my fingers and my thumb, I'm pulling this way now. There you go. Let me just see where I'm pulling against this staple. So this finger here really is running along the slub of the fabric, or the weave of the fabric, should I say, along this way, and that's the line I'm after. That up, brushing it up, long. I put one in there. Go. Now I fill it in. So let's go down here, fill it in. I'm going to do the same to either side now as well. And I want to brush it up. Now the tension is important, otherwise I'm going to end up with a lot of bulk on the corner here. And I don't want a lot of bulk on the corner here. I want as little as I can, but there's always going to be a small pleat that goes around the end. So I can, not too far because I've got nothing to pull against. Pulling this way with my fingers and my thumb under here. Gripping like with my finger and thumb. I'm using these as a, hold it in place. Do the same to this side. I'm using it and holding it in my whole body as well, so that it doesn't run away from me. I pop one in that side, and now I want to just fill that in. So, okay, now what I want to do is my corners. So, where the corner rounds, I'm going to end up with two pleats on either side of my corner. So I use my finger and my thumb, and I get to where the rounded edge comes to the corner, and I'm just going to give it a stroke up here. So I'm pulling now this way, stroke up here, and as you can see, I'm popping a staple, one staple right in the corner there, and that is going to give me my pleats that come round. But we don't want to just staple these off. We want to cut out the fabric so we get a nice clean edge, and there's not a lot of bulk in the corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work around and do each corner. So I'll just work out where my pleats are, pull him round, pop a staple in there. Okay. I'm just going to pull it around and pop a staple in the end there. Do it to each corner, find the corner, finger and thumb in the corner, pull it round, staple it. There we go. So if we start with this corner, what we want to do is just put our pleats in place first so that we know where they're going to go. Now, all this in here is waste. We don't need any of this. So that we, fell on the floor. So what we're going to do is where this fold is, if we pull this fabric over, and we can see that there's the pleat, and we want to cut just inside here. What we're going to do is just cut one in here, up to the edge. Now I'm going to cut down the middle to the staple, and then I can just cut that out. Okay, so now we're missing this bulk that would just sit underneath there, being no good snowman. Again, with a little stroke up the side, and I want to pull it over, hold it in place with my hand. And cut this out along the back now. So all the time, I'm just getting less and less in that corner. Now I'm going to fold this pleat over again so I can see where I cut. There we go. I'm going to want to cut just on the inside of here now. Down to the staple, down to the corner. Get a nice clean corner on there. Okay, we work our way around now and do each corner like this. I'm just going to take off. Now, here we go. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put on our base cloth to finish it off. I might just straighten this up. So, at the front, we want to just put on our straight this edge we've got and lay it over the top of the back of the dining chair. So lay it on the top over the back of the dining chair. What I want to do is just fold this over to make a nice clean straight edge and lay it across the top dining chair like this. And then pull it across. Do this side as well. And then I'm going to cut the excess off the back of the Dipryl, and I'm going to just roll it down, and I'm going to find the edge, and I'm going to pull up the Dipryl and just pop them on the edge as well. So tack in the middle, work your way out, one in either end, and then fill it. So there we go. I know that's nice and straight now. And then I want to just fill in the gaps. Fold him under. Don't come all the way to the edge because we've still got to do our corners as yet. And then I'll just cut the excess off here. Don't want to be folding masses of amounts under there. Again, we want to keep it nice and neat on the back. So one in the middle, and if we do one in the middle on this end as well, on the opposing side, and then we want to fill it in. There we go. So Again, I want to chop out a bit of the corner as well. One in the end, nice and tight up against the edge. Tuck him under. There's a nice corner, tucking all the bits and bobs under. I'm folding him under and just working my way to the corner and give myself a nice There we go, one dining room seat covered in a grey vinyl with a base cloth on the bottom. What a transformation.